wrestling fans. Now, we know this is out of the norm for us over at Uncharted Media. We normally do movie stuff, but WrestleMania is right around the corner. So, just like we did with the Royal Rumble, we are here today to do our predictions for WrestleMania. Josh is not here today. He's a little preoccupied, but he's able to submit his predictions via us, so we'll be reporting his predictions. But I do thankfully have a co-host who's far more attractive than Josh, and I'm so glad she's here. Heather, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
A little tired, but I think we're ready to go. Let's do this. We just finished TakeOver. Oh, that was a great show. As all takeovers are, WrestleMania will have a lot to live up to, and it probably won't, but we're still going to have a good time with it anyway. So, starting us off, we have the pre-show matches. First off, with the Women's Battle Royal. Now, this one's really kind of up in the air, considering I think only like half the field has been announced. You've got names like Asuka, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, any of the females that aren't named Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, Tamina, Beth Phoenix, Natalya, or the Iconics. Literally any other female besides that is fair game. So, because they've been having her do the weird shtick lately, I'll go Lacey Evans, just primarily because I feel like they'll do something with her eventually besides just walking down the ramp and walking back up. Heather, do you have any thoughts whatsoever? If not, pick some random people.
Maybe Asuka, because she lost. Didn't she lose the last?
Yeah, she lost a week or two ago. Yeah, I believe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So you're going with Asuka?
Sure.
Okay. Heather's going with Asuka. I'm going Lacey Evans. And Josh, for both the Battle Royals, has just said pick random for me. So how are we going to screw over Josh here? Josh, I'll give you an NXT. Literally, it can be anybody from NXT. How about that? That sound fair? Josh's pick is a surprise NXT entrant for the Women's Battle Royal. You're welcome, Josh. Now, for the Men's Battle Royal, it's a little more up in the air, and we know more people involved. Braun Strowman, SNL's Colin Jost and Michael Che, just whole other thing entirely. Jeff and Matt Hardy. Basically, any mid-card to lower-card guy that doesn't have a confirmed match is in this Battle Royal. Also, Josh said, pick a random for this one. So, Josh, for this one, we're going to give you Braun Strowman. How does that sound? Me, I'm actually going to go with the dark horse here that's not confirmed. We already have 29 people in this match, but we have one or two slots that I'm sure will be surprises. I will go with Lars Sullivan. I think this is where they debut him. He wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and that's how they introduce him. I know he was supposed to be introduced a couple weeks back, but then he had an anxiety attack, and supposedly he's all good now, and he's good to come back. I think they're going to debut him in a big way. Heather, do you have any thoughts? Any of the mid-level guys like Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Braun Strowman, or do you think the SNL guys win it somehow?
I don't think they'll win it. I think it's going to be really doubtful for them to win it. Maybe just Matt Hardy.
Okay, you going with Matt Hardy being a two-time Under the Giant? He won it last year, so you going with it this year too?
Sure, that sounds good.
All right, it's more or less a cursed event, but well, hopefully the winner this year actually ends up doing something. And for the last of the pre-show matches, unless something else gets moved, Buddy Murphy, the champ, versus Tony Nese. Now, Josh has Buddy Murphy for this one. I'm actually inclined to agree with him, primarily because he pays much more attention to 205 Live than I do. And yeah, Buddy Murphy, I feel like there's still stuff for him to do as champ, I think. He hasn't been champ that long, but again, I don't follow 205 Live that closely. So I guess I'll go with Buddy Murphy. Heather, of the two names that I'm sure you're 100% familiar with, Buddy Murphy or Tony Nese, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Tony because I want to be different.
In today's predictions, that's probably a good idea. Now, for the main card, I'm assuming, or this might get bumped to the pre-show too, we have the Raw Tag Team match between The Revival and Hawkins and Ryder. Okay, this doesn't make any sense to me. For weeks now, The Revival have more or less been feuding with Aleister Black and Ricochet, but Aleister Black and Ricochet are facing off for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And Hawkins Ryder, there's the whole thing with Kurt Hawkins that he hasn't won in like 200 or so matches. And I don't know. There's that whole Revival going to AEW thing, which I'm sure they will eventually. I think this is the feel-good moment for... Hawkins and Ryder. Hawkins finally snaps his losing streak of 200-plus matches, only for them to lose it tomorrow night on Raw when they get the rematch. I think that's how that's going to go down. Josh has the Revival, because I'm sure he loves the Revival. I love the Revival too, but I don't think management likes them. So I think Hawkins Ryder. Josh thinks the Revival. Heather, you going with?
Revival.
Why?
Because it's the name I know more of.
Fair enough. Good logic there. Now we have the one that we just really want to get over with. Kurt Angle in his retirement match versus Baron Corbin. Now, I'm not seeing Josh's prediction for this one, so we're just going to give him Baron Corbin for this one. Sucks for you, Josh, unless Baron Corbin wins, in which good predicting. I will say Kurt Angle beats Baron Corbin, but we'll get a surprise secret opponent after that. Like maybe Kurt taps out Baron Corbin really quick, and then someone else comes along to challenge Kurt and be like, no, I'll be your last match. I think that would be a much more fitting send-off. So I'll go Kurt. Josh has got Baron. Heather, you have?
I'm going to go with Kurt.
Why is that?
Well, has Baron been wrestling much lately?
Yeah, he goes more or less every week against everyone else's wishes, I suppose.
Well, I'm still going to go with Kurt just because he needs to go off with a win.
Yeah, or a better match, but we're probably not getting that. Next up, this one's going to be interesting. We have Miz versus Shane McMahon in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Josh has the Miz. I'm inclined to agree. This is the one I'm the least confident about, actually, because this could go either way for me. Because I see this rivalry extending past Mania, and I think this whole Falls Count Anywhere stipulation is just an excuse for Shane to jump off something tall, and maybe like at WrestleMania 32, Miz just rolls out of the way really quick, and Shane just eats it, and that's how Miz is able to pin him. On the fence. I'll say Shane, because they'll probably want to drag this feud out a little bit longer, and maybe Shane wants a win at WrestleMania because he normally does the job for whoever he's facing. Heather, who you got, Miz or Shane?
I'm going to go with Shane because isn't he a heel?
Yep.
I think he's going to win.
I also think, since it's Falls Count Anywhere, you could see someone interfering on Shane's behalf. Maybe like Sanity or somebody, like they have been on SmackDown the past couple weeks. I could see some interference on Shane's behalf. Next up, we have the SmackDown Tag Team titles in a fatal four-way between the Usos, Aleister Black and Ricochet, The Bar, and Rusev and Nakamura, with Josh going with Aleister Black and Ricochet. I'll say an Uso retention here because the Usos just signed new contracts with WWE. They'll be sticking around for a couple more years, thankfully. I think they're one of the best tag teams in WWE. I'm glad to see them sticking around. I still think it's too soon for Black and Ricochet, and I think they're a better act as singles competitors, and I would like to see them split off and do their own thing. Maybe Aleister Black goes to Raw after the shakeup, and Ricochet stays on SmackDown. I think that's the best case scenario. I like them. I don't necessarily like them together as much. But Heather, you see these four tag teams, knowing that the Usos are tag team champs going into it, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Rusev and Nakamura.
Okay. Why?
Because I know that they are pretty good individually, and they could probably work well as a team.
Fair enough. And correction, Josh did not go with Black and Ricochet. He went with The Bar. I'm just looking at the notes wrong, and it's underlined Black and Ricochet, but he actually went with The Bar. So, correction, Josh is going with The Bar, not Black and Ricochet. Next up, we have the women's tag team title match. in another fatal four-way, oddly enough, between the Boston Hug connection of Bayley and Sasha Banks, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, Nia Jax and Tamina, and the Iconics. Josh, for this one, has the Boston Hug connection, the inaugural women's tag team champions. I also will go with Boston Hug, primarily just because of these four options. I think they're the best ones. It's nice to see Beth Phoenix come out of retirement for this match, but I don't see her and Natalya winning. I pray with everything in my being they don't give the titles to Nia Jax and Tamina. They're so dull, and I can't stand the Iconics either. I find them to be very obnoxious characters. I know they're supposed to be, but I can't stand them. So I think the safe bet here is Boston Hug connection. Yeah, of those four, Heather, what's the best option do you think?
I'm going to go with Beth and Natalya because I want to be different again.
Good call. Good call. Now, next up, we have the Intercontinental title in a match that I should be more excited for, but I'm really not. We have the champ, Bobby Lashley, versus Demon Finn Balor in the Demon's first appearance at WrestleMania. He didn't do it last year for his Triple Threat IC title match, but this year, Balor will be going as the Demon, and I'm super hyped. That being said, both Josh and I will be going with Demon Finn Balor. He's undefeated on the main roster. The Demon's only been beaten once by Samoa Joe in NXT. I think that continues now. The Demon will continue his hot streak on the main roster, and hopefully this leads to more appearances by the Demon. They use it very sparingly. So, of Lashley and Demon Balor, Heather, who are you going with and why?
I'm going to go with Demon again because, well, I think Lashley, was he the one that's kind of weird?
Tall, bald, sweats a lot.
Yes. I'm just going to say Demon because it, like you said, it's his first appearance. So.
Yeah, and undefeated. Well, on main roster at least. Which brings us to the match that I'm least confident will actually happen, which is the U.S. title between champ Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio. The reason I don't know if this is happening or not is because Rey Mysterio may have sustained an injury this past Monday night on Raw, and so they're kind of questioning whether or not he's going to be able to go come Sunday. They're kind of fingers crossed at the moment. So we're still going to treat it like this match is happening. Josh and I agree once again with Samoa Joe winning and retaining here. It'd be nice. I'm looking forward to this match. I was kind of hoping for Cena versus Joe, but this match should be just fine as well. If this match happens, I'm going with Joe to retain. He just won the title recently. I don't know how I feel about him dropping it to Rey Mysterio. Plus, I have a lot of title changes later on in the card, so I kind of want some retentions every once in a while. What about you, Heather? Between Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio, who wins and why?
I think Joe will win just because he's, I don't know. He's just, you said he wants to, he's already won, so he wants to keep it.
Next up, we have the Battle of the Big Hosses when you have the big dog, Roman Reigns, versus Drew McIntyre. Now, Josh and I have been agreeing on our past couple matches. This one, we definitely disagree. Josh has gone with Drew McIntyre. He's high on Drew. I am too. I like Drew. That being said, Roman is Roman. Roman always wins. Also, the dude is coming off beating leukemia. I think the company's going to let him win at WrestleMania here. However, the amount of boos that will happen if Drew McIntyre beats Roman Reigns, which is a statement I never thought I'd be saying, if he beats Roman, the crowd's not going to be happy. But it's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is winning here just because Roman Reigns always wins in the end. It's be a happy, feel-good story of he's overcome the odds. He overcomes Drew McIntyre, yada, yada, yada. Of the two of them, Drew McIntyre or the big dog, Roman Reigns, who you got and why?
I think Roman because he hasn't been wrestling in a while, and like you said, they need him to win to show like he has gone through so much. He can do anything.
Yeah, a good feel-good moment in there. Next up, one that I should be more excited for, but I'm not because the build has not been that great. Triple H versus Batista in a no-holds-barred match. I think the other stipulation that they've added to this match kind of tips their hand at the ending. Apparently, if Triple H loses this, he is forced to retire. To me, that's a dead giveaway that Triple H is not losing. He's still got a couple more matches. His ego won't let him retire yet, to me. Triple H will be a constant presence and will obviously be wrestling for several more years. So that's why I'm going with Triple H. I just don't see him retiring on this little of a notice, being like, hey, the Raw before Mania, this could be my last one. Please be emotionally invested. Now, because he's that much of a sucker and a loyalist, Josh has gone with Batista. Okay, I get Batista is one of Josh's favorites, but to me this seems pretty cut and dry that Triple H is winning. You watch, Batista ends up winning this. So between the Game and the Animal, who you got and why, Heather?
I'll say Triple H just because he's scary.
Fair enough. Now, we can hopefully this match isn't too bad. The whole no holds barred thing just means, hey, they can use weapons because Batista hasn't wrestled in a while, so he's probably a little rougher on the edges. Next up is one that I'm actually super excited just because of the promos that they've been spewing over the past couple weeks, and it's AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Now we're back to the agreeing ways, as Josh and I both have AJ Styles winning. I initially thought this could go either way, but the most recent SmackDown kind of has me changing my tune. So the big draw of this match, the big spot that's always been teased, is AJ going for the phenomenal forearm, only for Randy to catch him midair with the RKO. Well, that happened on SmackDown Live earlier this week, which to me means, well, they're not doing that spot at Mania anymore because they just did it on SmackDown. So if you're not doing it on WrestleMania, that means AJ's probably winning. That probably would have been the spot that Randy wins it, like at WrestleMania 31 when he reversed Seth's curb stomp into an RKO. That probably would have been the ending. But given that we just got on SmackDown, I don't think we'll see it again on Sunday. So I'm saying AJ wins. Sorry, Randy, but AJ wins this time. Of the two of them, AJ Styles or Randy Orton, who are you going with and why, Heather?
I'm going to say AJ just because he's confident, and I feel like he will do what he can.
Alrighty, now this one, oh boy, this one's gonna be tricky. The WWE title, the WWE Heavyweight title, as I'm calling it lately, between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. Now, Kofi's been screwed over at every possible turn. Josh has gone with Kofi, and I really want to go with Kofi. But of the 3 title matches, I can't buy that all 3 of them will have happy endings. Somebody's going to be screwed over. Somebody's got to lose. And I think it might be Kofi. I don't know how, but I feel like he might be screwed over here. That being said, if he does get screwed over, good luck following that up, because I think the crowd's going to crap on every match there and after. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Daniel Bryan retains at WrestleMania. Kofi can win it maybe down the line eventually, but I'm going Daniel Bryan. Josh is going Kofi. He's thinking with his heart. I think there's something to it. I think he might get screwed over. Now, Heather, you've been kind of keeping up with the Kofi thing, just like I have. Daniel Bryan or Kofi Kingston, who wins and why?
I'm going to say Kofi, just because, like you said, he's been having to do so much just to get to Mania. I think that it's like a trick. So he's going to try, and he's going to win.
I mean, I genuinely hope I'm wrong, and I hope Kofi does win it. I just feel like there's a last-minute twist that Vince McMahon is going to throw in there. I don't think we're going to go full Booker T screwed over type, but I just got a bad feeling about this. Now, this one, as the weeks have gotten closer and closer to Mania, I'm getting more and more nervous about this one, but I'm sticking with my guns here. The Universal Championship match between Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. Josh has gone Seth Rollins here, and I got to too. Seth has to win here. This is his match to win. No guy Brock has never beaten Seth one-on-one. He's one of the only guys left on the roster that can say that. Seth has to win this one. We need a full-time champ again. And with Brock teasing another UFC return, it seems like that's the story every WrestleMania, but it's got to happen. Seth has to beat Brock here. The Brock thing, I'm sick and tired of Brock as champ. He can be around every once in a while, but I don't want him on top anymore. So let's just move on from the Brock thing. Let Seth be champ. Maybe set up a Seth-Drew championship feud down the line. Of the two, Brock or Seth, who you got and why, Heather?
I'm going to say Seth, just like you guys, because, like you said, Brock might be leaving soon, so I think it's just the best possibility.
I really hope so. With Lesnar, though, you never know. Next, finally, the main event. Hopefully it stays the main event and it isn't just WWE's phrasing of main event. It is a triple threat match between Becky Lynch, SmackDown Women's Champ Charlotte Flair, and Raw Women's Champ Ronda Rousey, sorry. And the winner takes all. The winner takes both titles. Josh has Becky. I have Becky. Heather, you've got?
I'm going to say Ronda.
Really? You're going Ronda retaining. Why is that?
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like she can do it.
Just to be different?
Yep.
Just to throw it out there? Josh and I are going Becky just because it's the right call. She's the hottest thing going in wrestling right now. There's no superstar bigger. Maybe Kofi, but not really. She's the best thing going right now in WWE. Her being dual champion would just be like WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan at the end. I think it would be a nice, happy moment. But yeah, Josh and I are going Becky. Heather's going Ronda, and we'll see. Now, for any last-minute surprises, normally we'll throw in one or two. I'll say, well, I would say Cena, but he's all but confirmed at this point. I will say The Undertaker and The Rock make appearances. Heather, you got any surprise appearances on the show?
No, I can't think of any.
Okay, and then I'll give Josh a surprise appearance of, I don't know, somebody from, we'll just also say Undertaker for Josh, because Batista's already in the match, and that would have been his go-to. I just know it. Well, what are your guys' predictions for WrestleMania 35? Are you excited? Are you not? Let us know. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on. And as always, stay sharp, wrestling fans.